I'm Andrea Uckele with Healthy Goods, and I'm here with our registered dietitian nutritionist, Kelly Harrington.
Hello.
Our nutritionist extraordinaire, as I like to call her.
Thanks.
Yes, and she was actually, we were making a kind of running through things that were good for immunity this morning, and she was talking about immunity boosters, and I said reishi mushroom, and she said very good that you knew that, and I learned so much from her.
She's learning.
I know, right?
So impressed.
You can teach an old dog new tricks. Don't let anybody tell you you can't.
I know. Okay, and you know what I was thinking is since we've been doing these videos, I feel like we need a name.
Oh,
you know,
sure.
like the celebrities have their names, like the Brangelina. I know that's like
no longer.
But we need a name.
Oh yeah.
What do you think?
What's her name?
Well, I was
What'd you name us?
thinking Andrelli.
I love Andrelli.
Andrea.
Welcome to
Andrelli. The
That's right.
Andrelli series.
The Andrelli series in the Andrelli kitchen. I like it.
Okay,
we are now Andrelli,
Andrelli.
so hashtag Andrelli. we'll make it a thing. I love it,
You can
Kelly.
find us that way,
There
right?
you go. Yeah. So today, Kelly, we are going to be kind of talking about fat, which we've done in the past. We've talked a lot about fat and how fat is good for you. But you're going to take us through a couple of really fun, easy recipes that get the good fats in us, but also have some superfood nutrition, right?
That's right. So we are going to make two different types of fat bombs. And you may have heard that term before. I think the ketogenic diet probably made them a bit popular, but fat bombs can be eaten by anybody. We're going to make a fat bomb on the stove, and then we're going to make one that doesn't require the stove, but they're so
easy.
I made the final product this morning in literally like 5 minutes. They don't take much time at all.
Which is great because
delicious.
people are so busy and they don't really have time for in-depth recipes.
Yes.
And it's a great, fast, easy way to get good nutrition, and it tastes like a treat. Like it's really.
It is. It really tastes like a
I mean,
treat. It's like dessert.
It is, and you feel like you're not supposed to be eating it, but you can, and you are. So
the one on the stove tastes almost like a dark chocolate, like peanut butter cup.
Yeah,
really, it's delicious.
Really good. Yeah.
And you can modify it in any way. When I show you the recipe, I don't really even follow a recipe. Technically, you just need the ingredients, and then you can do whatever portions you want and whatever add-ins you want. So it's really easy.
Yeah.
Even the biggest rookie in the fridge or in the kitchen would be able to make these. Right.
That's good. You don't have to be afraid of the kitchen to make these.
Right. And the reason why fats are good, let me just explain this in an analogy, because I know you like analogies.
I do.
So if you compare the way that energy is in your body, like a fat versus a carbohydrate, a fat would be like adding a log onto a fire, and it takes quite a long time for it to burn down to ash. Versus if you add in like some pine needles or a little bark chip, that burns to ash really quickly. And that is how a carbohydrate behaves in the body. So the fat is great.
I love
because,
that.
Isn't that cool?
Oh yeah.
It helps you just kind of understand how it sticks with you so much longer.
The
fat does, so it adds satiety. Of course, it adds flavor. It really is true that on your tongue there are like fat flavor enhancers.
The flavor is wonderful.
So
I mean, who doesn't love butter?
Exactly. And fat has always just gotten such a bad rap, especially saturated fat, which coconut oil has. And for years, we learned that coconut oil was taboo. Like I learned that when I was in dietitian school that you shouldn't eat coconut, you should avoid it because it has a saturated fat. But sadly, that it's gotten the bad rap because to blame is actually sugar. And we've talked about that, right?
We have, yes. And you know, it's great. If you want to look up the history of that, there are some great articles out there. New York Times has a great article. Tons of articles about how what really happened was there were scientists at Harvard who they misrepresented the data, and they were getting paid by a sugar company to say that sugar wasn't bad and that it didn't cause heart disease, when in reality it was the sugar that was bad that was causing the heart disease and not the fat. So there's still a stigma to fat though. I think there's a lot of people out there who are like, oh, my cholesterol, or this or that. So there's really a stigma with fat that shouldn't be there, and I really hope that eventually, I mean, once you arm yourself with knowledge though, and you start reading about the things that, if you really pick up, I think, really good nutrition blogs and things like that, and we have a ton of blogs that Kelly has written on this subject, you arm yourself with a lot of really good knowledge, and you're able to actually pick, I think, things that are really good for you.
And
the
research is out there for sure.
There's tons of research.
The fat not necessarily being the problem with heart disease, it's the sugar, it's your triglycerides that you should watch more so than your cholesterol levels. And I mean, I could go on and on about that. So
topics for another day.
Right.
Today we're going to make fat bombs.
Allowing yourself some fat is a really good choice. And it's good for your kids too. I first made these with the intention of giving them to my kids because I wanted to boost their calories. I wanted something filling in their lunches over the winter time, which I must add, they do melt a little bit if it's not cold.
Yeah, pack it on ice.
Yeah, because the coconut oil gets really soft and can melt at a pretty low temperature. So that's the only drawback of this recipe, I would say, is that they can get a little gooey, they get on your fingers, but whatever.
Sure. Yeah.
So anyhow, I made them for my kids. They love them. And there's all kinds of versions. You don't have to add chocolate if you don't want to. You can make them just straight coconut oil with stuff in them, like I've added lemon juice.
Yeah. And in fact, our second recipe doesn't have chocolate.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, well let's get started.
Yeah.
You want to start making some?
Yeah, I think we should.
All right, so we're going to bring you to the kitchen so you can see what we're doing on the stove. Hi guys, so I've just added some coconut oil to the skillet, and I was getting the skillet pretty hot, but I want you to see that this coconut oil melts really quickly. In fact, I'm going to turn the heat down, and how much you add will depend on how many you want to make. This right here is probably going to make about, I don't know, 8 or 9, maybe 10, depending on how much of the other stuff I add. So once the coconut oil is melted, you can add in, I'm using our cacao liqueur. I love these Live Superfood cacao liqueur pieces. You can see them like this. They're pure dark chocolate, and cacao is so good for you. It contains a lot of antioxidants in it, and it also has like the feel good. It boosts your serotonin and dopamine levels, so it makes you feel good. So we're gonna melt that in there as well. And we're going to add nut butter. You can also use cacao powder if you have the powder.
Look how nice that's melting.
Right?
Yeah.
And then I am going to use this Maranatha organic peanut butter, but you can use almond butter. You can use sunflower seed butter.
I was going to ask that. So any kind of nut butter that you want, huh?
Any kind.
Okay.
And you can see I'm just kind of
Yeah, I think
not
I'll just
really
stay close up in on
measuring,
this.
just adding however much.
That's pretty.
It doesn't have to boil. In fact, I'm going to turn it down so it doesn't boil, actually. You just want to melt it until it's all combined. We're also going to add some superfoods to this. And I like to add a little bit of vanilla extract. I like this organic, simply organic vanilla extract.
Oh, that's going to be great.
This doesn't have any alcohol in it.
So how much of that would you suggest? Just like a teaspoon?
I would say
or
like a quarter to a half of a teaspoon.
Okay, so not very much.
No,
just
not
something
much.
to give a little flavor.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Because you're not going to add any sweetener to this, because the whole point is to have them be, no sugar. It's just pure fat.
Yeah, that's great. And there really is no sugar in this.
So it's not going to raise your blood sugar level at all.
Which is awesome.
So this is all melted. This is pretty much done, you guys. But we're going to boost it with some superfoods.
Oh yeah, we love superfoods.
And
Look at
the one
these.
that
What do we have here?
So this is reishi mushroom. A reishi mushroom.
And there you go. That's what we were talking about. That's what's really good for your immune system, right, Kelly?
Good for your immune system. And it's also an adaptogen, which I love.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is maca, which is another adaptogen. So adaptogens make you feel good. They boost your energy too. The maca is really good for energy. Although I wouldn't put this in with the kiddos. Because
too much energy.
You don't want them running around like Incan warriors, because it will give you energy.
They'll be like wild banshees.
The third one we're going to add is a goji berry powder.
Ooh,
and that's a little
nice.
bit sweet, so that one's kind of nice.
Okay.
So let's dump these in.
That looks amazing.
I'm going to turn the heat down even more because I want to.
You don't want to burn
scorch them.
Yeah. And the reishi for immune. And you and I need energy, so we're going with the maca.
That's right. We're just going to stir this in. These just taste so good. The maca adds a nice, like, kind of butterscotchy flavor, and reishi pairs really well with cacao. And I honestly don't even think you'll taste it too much when you eat them.
Yeah, reishi doesn't have like a real strong flavor
Not
to
too
it, which
much,
is
no.
nice.
Not a whole lot.
Because you can add it to quite a bit of stuff like tea, and it, it doesn't.
Hot cocoa.
Right, and it doesn't.
So look what we have over
Right.
here.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say overburden the flavor, but
Yeah, no, it doesn't
Yeah.
overburden the flavor.
this is
Isn't that beautiful?
Beautiful, yes.
Okay, so the next step is I turn the stove off, and we're going to pour them into their molds, and then you put them in the freezer. So we'll show you how to do that. All right, so it is all melted and creamy and beautiful. And I like to use these metal molds. They're just like candy molds in a metal tin. But then
like
you can
those.
also use like silicone molds. I have these little
These are great.
cupcake things. And you would probably just fill it up maybe like a quarter of the way or half of the way, because you wouldn't want to put it all the way to the top.
It smells so good, by the way. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's fine.
It smells like brownies.
It does smell like brownies.
Like,
yeah, you guys, these
so
are
good.
so good. So this is kind of a slow process, but I just scoop them in one at a time like this.
Yeah.
And fill it up. And how many do you think I'd be able to fill up with this amount?
I think you should be able to do all of them. Yeah.
I think it would be able to fill at least all 12 of them.
I would say so.
So once you fill them up, find a flat spot in your freezer and let them be in there for probably at least 10 minutes. And if you're going to take them to go, I would use an ice pack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can keep them in the refrigerator. They're not quite as solid.
Yeah, and here's your finished product.
Yeah, look at those.
I mean,
do you want to try one?
Of course I do. These are so good.
They're really good.
Yeah. And look, they're so cute. They're like little
peanut butter cups.
Peanut butter cups.
And you can see they're melting. They've been sitting on a little bit. My kids always get annoyed by their fingers get dirty because their fingers get dirty, but hey, what can you do?
That's hilarious.
Right?
I love it. Those are delicious.
Mm-hmm. Really easy.
Mm-hmm.
I did want to add, if you use MCT oil, it tends to soften them even more. So don't use too much MCT oil. It's a really great fat for your brain, but don't use too much because it will soften them too much. Just a little tip there.
That's great.
And so what are you making?
Well, we're just going to go over one more recipe. So if you don't want to use the oven and you're looking for just a really quick fat bomb to throw together, we have a recipe here, and I had actually pre-made the dough for it. It's really good, except for so what it is it's a half a cup of peanut butter, natural peanut butter, and then a third a cup of chia seeds, and a third a cup of hemp seeds, and then a tablespoon of coconut oil. Now I will say this, chia seeds, check your teeth, because these suckers love to sit anywhere in your teeth that they can, and I'm telling you, it's not one of those things where you're trying to save it for later.
I know, right?
So after you eat these, check your teeth. They are. They're like, I ate one of these and I was like, I looked in the mirror and it was like all chia seeds everywhere. So basically what you do is after you put it all together, you usually put it in the freezer or the refrigerator just to harden the dough up, and then you'll take a spoon, and I'm not going to use it because this has been sitting out for a little bit, so it's a little too warm right now, but you roll it in little balls, and then you'll put it back in the refrigerator to set. And then what I did was, when I made these earlier, these do not have chocolate in them, but we have some cacao powder here. Now Kelly is,
they're really mushy.
Oh yeah, they're really
These
mushy.
definitely have to
Here,
be frozen.
use a fork.
Eaten right away, right?
Yeah, use a fork. Fork it up, because they're really good. They have such a great flavor and such a great taste. And the chia seeds and the hemp seeds are
lots
really
of crunch.
Yeah, they're great, right?
So night and day, right? Because mine are smooth with zero
Very
crunch.
smooth, very crunchy. This one.
I like them.
And
those are good. Those are really good,
aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
And then just mention a little bit about we did the cacao liqueur, and then the cacao powder is what I took, and I rolled these in and set them down. And you don't have to do that, but I did it because what were we talking about? Cacao. It's so good for you,
yeah,
right?
So many nutrients, especially the unadulterated pure cacao, which this is. It comes from the cacao bean,
right?
And so it doesn't have any sugar added to it. It's like the ultimate dark chocolate.
Yes,
and it is really good for your immune system. It is good for your boosting your serotonin, your dopamine, so it makes you feel good.
That.
And it also contains a type of antioxidant that's good for your heart. It's the same antioxidant that's found in red wine. So skip the red wine and get your dark chocolate.
Well, there you go. It's even, I would prefer chocolate over wine anyways.
Oh, me too, for sure.
I'm
not a wine person.
No, neither, but that sounds delicious.
Those are good.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, so it's not bad. So those are just some options for you, and I think that we'll, as we come up with some better choices, we can share them with you also. I know that you can add, you could make this and you could chop up some pistachios or walnuts or something like that. You could roll, and you can roll those in that as well and set those.
So many options.
Yeah, so many options. So anyway, I just want to say thank you all so much for tuning in and joining us. Everything that you see here, you can get your cacao liqueur, your chia seeds and your hemp seeds and your coconut oil all from healthygoods.com. And I just want to say thanks again. #Andrelli.
Andrelli.
Andrelli Kitchen. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.